What's up, everybody? David Myhall here, and it has definitely been another crazy week in crypto. Quick update on my personal situation. I have finally made it to Lisbon, Portugal. My travels are finally over. I'm planning on sticking around here for a while, so if you're in Lisbon, hit me up. Maybe we can meet up at the Block Cafe or something similar. But let's jump into the news. So, the biggest story this week was obviously Twitter. This week, a hacker was able to take control over a number of high-profile Twitter accounts, from Barack Obama to Elon Musk to Kanye West. And the hacker didn't try to start World War III. They didn't try to crash the Tesla stock price. They didn't try to announce a new Kanye West album. What they did was post one of these Bitcoin scam messages that if you're on Twitter, you'd probably already seen plenty of. Lots of Elon Musk tweets over the last year have had a reply with a fake screenshot that says, hey, send me some Bitcoin at this address, I'll send you back double. And so basically they just repeated that scam, but on a much higher level on all these high profile accounts. Twitter seemed to have a tough time getting this attack under control. These tweets were going out for quite a long period of time. One way that they ended up getting it under control at one point was they blocked all verified accounts from posting, which made us non-verified accounts feel like the Twitter proletariat was finally rising up. Now, this was really not all that related to crypto. It was basically a Twitter hack. They just were using Bitcoin as the way that they were trying to get some money out of it. And by the way, they didn't get that much money. They only got like a couple $100,000 worth of Bitcoin. But the more interesting thing was that, once again, Bitcoin was thrust into the front page headlines of major news. Now, you can look at this two ways for Bitcoin and crypto. On one hand, you can say there's no such thing as bad publicity, especially for something like, Bitcoin, emerging technology. This is just going to put Bitcoin on the front of a lot of people's mind for a bit. On the other hand, this was a hack that involved Bitcoin. So it's not necessarily shining the best light on cryptocurrencies. My mom actually called me and said, hey, what's this going on with Bitcoin got hacked? I saw that in the news, and I had to explain to her, no, Bitcoin didn't get hacked. Twitter got hacked. They just used Bitcoin to get some of that money. Details are still emerging about this whole incident. New York Times had an interesting story where they seem to track down some of the hackers, which seems like this is not any state-level attack or sophisticated hacker group. The New York Times pointed to a group of just kind of young hackers who are responsible typically for stealing valuable social media handles. I don't know, crazy story. I'm sure we'll get more details as that moves forward. Speaking of Twitter, next we're going to turn to our Twitter drama of the week. And this drama was related to Chainlink. If you're not familiar with Chainlink, it is a protocol for providing data oracles for smart contracts. Right now it's mainly just running on the Ethereum blockchain. But the more interesting things about Chainlink is that their link token has skyrocketed in the past few months. And the other relevant part is that Chainlink has a very strong, very passionate fan base online. Now, this link token has recently pushed itself into the top 10 cryptocurrencies by market cap, and that's brought a lot more outside attention to it. This week, a company called Zeus Capital put out a report claiming that Chainlink was basically a big fraud, a big pump and dump. The title said that this was crypto's Wirecard, referring to the recent German bank that's kind of imploded. And so there was a lot of back and forth after this report came out, a lot of Chainlink supporters calling this FUD. But the interesting thing happened a few days ago when these online detectives, supporters of Chainlink, dug into the PDF document that had put out and some other information such as domain name registrations and even the source code of some type forms. And they basically concluded that Zeus Capital, the company that put out this report, was basically a front company for Nexo. And they basically concluded that Zeus Capital is just kind of a front company for Nexo. Nexo is a crypto financial company that has publicly been supporting and partnering with Chainlink. However, some chain analysis has showed that it seems that Nexo may have borrowed a large amount of Link off of Aave, potentially to take a short position on this currency. So There's a lot of speculation. I don't know what the actual deal is, whether Nexos is really behind this paper or if this is unrelated. Nexos might still be pro Chainlink, but maybe they were trying to push the price down, take out this short position, and make a little extra profit. I don't know. But there was certainly some spicy drama going on Twitter. Check out Chainlink God on Twitter if you want to see the some of this evidence that the Chainlink community is posting against Zeus and Nexos. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. Next up, bZx did their IDO, that is initial DEX offering for their new token bZrx. They did this by listing their token on Uniswap. They're not the first project to release a token by listing it on Uniswap. UMA Protocol's done that a while ago. A few other projects have done similar things. And from all of these, we've kind of seen that this is just not a good way to release a token. I mean, the nice thing is it's really easy to just post a token on Uniswap. You don't need to sell the token at a fixed price. Uniswap will kind of adjust that price accordingly. But the problem is that when there's just one liquidity provider that posts a token on Uniswap and sets a price for it, they're basically setting the minimum price for that token. When anyone buys the token, it's going to push the price up. And basically, as people rush in to try to buy this token, the price is going to skyrocket. But it's not necessarily just skyrocketing because of demand or the valuation of the token. It's skyrocketing because this is the mechanics of the Uniswap. So we've seen that play out with past Uniswap listings. What was even more interesting about this one is that someone set up a smart contract and was basically able to drain this Uniswap pool the same block that the funds were added to it. So they're basically able to swipe all these tokens immediately before anybody had a chance to buy them. So there's clearly some issues with this system of listing tokens on Uniswap. We've seen more and more projects kind of say that this is maybe not the right way to list a token. And this is more evidence that people are even learning better ways to game this system. So I think we'll probably see less tokens being initially listed on Uniswap and hopefully some better mechanisms emerging for how to distribute tokens. Speaking of distributing tokens, iEarn released their governance token this week. You might not have heard about iEarn, but you might have used it if you have put money into Curve Finance. One of Curve's most popular and most liquid pools is basically putting funds into iEarn. And so you can now liquidity mine, earning their token by, putting stablecoins into this pool on Curve. And the funny thing about this release is that the founder of the project, when they made this announcement, he basically said, this token has zero value. This is like not a worthwhile investment token. This is just a governance token. And maybe it was reverse psychology because the price of this token has gone crazy high. And you can earn some pretty crazy returns by, again, liquidity mining on Curve and iEarn. Again, maybe more evidence that we're in this DeFi bubble and that this yield farming continues to get crazier and crazier. But at least it's always interesting. One other story this week was that Camila Russo posted that the value of tokens running on top of the Ethereum blockchain has overtaken the ETH in terms of market cap. So this is interesting. This is now a network that is securing more value than the native asset of that network itself. I don't think this is really surprising. There's been incredible growth of these tokens on Ethereum, especially stablecoins. And I believe that a majority of this value is coming from stablecoins such as Tether and USDC. But interesting to see if there are security implications about this value as the chain moves towards proof of stake. I don't think there will be security implications, but I'm not a security researcher, so let me know if I'm wrong about that one. And speaking of Camila Russo, her book came out this week. It's called The Infinite Machine. It is basically the history of the founding of Ethereum. So if you're interested in crypto and DeFi and all that fun stuff, check this book out. I'm only about a quarter of the way through it, but it's definitely a very interesting take on this bit of crypto history. So that is it for this week. Thank you for joining for another crazy week in crypto, and I will see you next week.